A Mochi moment from Sadie, who writes, I'm not crying, you're crying. This is what I said during my first appointment with my physician at Mochi, because I didn't have to convince him I needed a GLP-1. He understood, and I felt supported, not judged. I came for the weight loss and stayed for the empathy. Thanks, Sadie. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Sadie is a Mochi member compensated for her story.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome, everybody, to the Hockey Think Tank podcast, brought to you by the hockeythinktank.com and the Hockey Think Tank community, a place for all passionate players, parents, and coaches to go to get a little bit of education and a little bit of inspiration regarding the greatest game on the planet. What an episode we have for you guys here today. We are bringing on Rob Hutson, an unbelievably, awesomely smart hockey guy, great hockey coach, also happens to be the father of some pretty good hockey players himself. Quinn, who signed in Edmonton. You have Lane, who won the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year in the NHL last year. You got Cole, draft pick of the Washington Capitals, took BU to the national championship game as a freshman, and then Lars coming up through the system in youth hockey as well. Man, just an awesome hockey guy. Grew up in Western Canada, played hockey, Division I at the University of Illinois, Chicago, back when they had a team, played parts of 7 years of pro hockey, and now he is just in youth hockey as an unbelievable coach, just a great development guy, and it was just a great conversation here. So before we do get over to Huddy, though, let's bring on the talent of the podcast, the one Jeffrey J, who tat man, 1 tooth out, 6'2", what did you say? Twisted steel and sex appeal.
I never said that
today, man. Oh, yes, you did.
I never said that. Apparently you think I have sex appeal. So thank you. Also kind of weird, but thanks, dude. Yeah, I'm feeling great, man.
You are a liar.
Your pants are another on fire.
Where you said exactly that. So anyways, Go ahead. How you doing, brother?
Oh, doing great, man. Just buzzing. Had another great week. Would have been the week before when this episode is coming out here, but pretty cool. Had one of my teammates from pro hockey that I played with in Japan, Ben Walter, played some games in the NHL, played a long time. I think he had 16, 17-year pro career. I believe his dad won a Stanley Cup, maybe with the Canadians. Unbelievable teammate, unbelievable player, unbelievable guy. He came down all last week with his 14-year-old son, John Berkeley, to train with the boys here in St. Louis and see what it's like in the gym and all that kind of stuff. And he came all the way from Vancouver, stayed the whole week. So for me, to have one of my old teammates want to make that trip and have his son be a part of what I do, I thought was really, really cool. And after the end of the week, they said, okay, next summer we're coming down for a month and our whole family's going to come so we can be with you for a month. So really, really cool thing to have happen. And, it was cool getting to connect with my old teammate.
Boom. I absolutely love it. Yeah, there's nothing better than that. I was just out at Cornell doing our charity game. Thank you to everybody that supported the game. We raised over $100,000 for Racker, which is a school for kids with special needs in Ithaca. We've raised over $1.5 million in the 11 years that we've done it. So yeah, just much needed support for kids in early childhood that have special needs, and got to see some former teammates, man. And there's literally that is my happy place. I feel like my happy place is just hanging out with guys I used to play with, or hanging out with guys I play with now, right? We just had one on the podcast last week, a couple weeks ago. Sean Pauly won a championship together in men's league. Not a big deal. But anyway, that's really cool. You're able to do that.
Yeah. Awesome. Super awesome time. So, other than that, just buzzing off season. Young players, some of them start practice like the first week of August for their AAA teams. So summer's coming to a quick close here week after week. I'll be losing more and more guys to their teams, and just really excited for all the boys and their seasons up ahead here.
That's great, man. That's great. Well, we have a cool little announcement, something that I'm going to be doing over the next couple weeks, the next month. And so, as many of you know, this week on Wednesday, your guy here is turning 40. He's turning 40 years old. Yeah, absolutely crazy. I don't know. I feel like I blinked and here we are. Like, just absolutely wild. But you know how much we love the people who support us. And one of the companies that supports us is Helios Hockey. And so we're going to do a little challenge, a little 40th birthday challenge for myself here. I want to include all of you guys. And so what we're going to do is I have a Helios and I will be working out every single day for a month. 31 days from July 23rd to August 23rd. I'm going to have my Helios on as I'm working out. I'm going to be posting my results publicly on social media every single day. And I want you to join me. And so we'll have the details for what that means in my social media post on Monday morning. And so again, that Wednesday, I'd love for anybody that has a Helios to join me because it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do challenges. We're going to have some prizes at the end. And we just appreciate the support that Helios gives us. We want to continue to beat their drum because they're such an awesome product for anybody in youth hockey. And so be on the lookout, I guess, if you're listening to this today on Monday, for what that is going to entail. And I hope everybody can join me because, at 40, Vex has always been beating the drum of making sure you're physically healthy. And I have lightly beat that drum, but want to beat it more. So join me on this challenge, this 30-day challenge, Helios Hockey. Let's work out together and let's go, baby. What do you think?
Yeah, dude. Love that. That. Excited for you, man. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's get to Huddy. What a conversation, right? I mean, how often do you get the chance to interview somebody who has potentially 4 kids that are going to play pro hockey? Like, it was really cool getting the opportunity to talk to him about, each of his sons is very different. They have different journeys, and it is interesting because we talk so much about the importance of surrounding your kids with good people. And that was like his theme. surround your kids with good people, man. And things will tend to work out more than they will if you don't. And so just a great hockey guy. What were your thoughts on the conversation?
Yeah. I mean, unbelievable hockey guy. I mean, he's such a good dude. And to have that many sons that are that good at hockey, and then you're hearing the things he's talking about, and they're everything that we've talked about on this podcast for years upon years upon years. Just really cool synergy. Also just really cool to I think for parents to hear from somebody who has been through what they're going through and has come out on the other side, not necessarily meaning like he's successful as a hockey parent because he has kids in the NHL, but just navigating all those tough times. And his kids came out on the other side and they don't hate their dad or hockey or anything. And I think it's good for our listeners to hear here.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. And he's still doing it. He's still coaching youth hockey, man. Like he's coaching and he's a great coach. Like I coached against him when I was coaching in midget hockey. What was that, 3 or 4 years ago now? And he had a team out in New Jersey. And I was like, man, like these kids are getting so much better just by watching the way that they played. And his son Cole at the time was on the team, who was playing a year up, and he was this little like 5'0" defenseman, but you're just like, holy crap, this kid's going to be good. And sure enough, as a young defenseman, a small defenseman, he gets drafted in the second round by the Capitals. He like takes BU as a freshman, one of the leaders on that team, to the national championship game last year. And so obviously the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, and Huddy's teaching him some pretty cool things. And it was really cool to see that. The other thing is that he's actually running a camp, Vex, and I think we talked about it on the podcast, but he's running a camp with Chris Brooks, who's associate head coach at Clarkson. They're doing it here in Chicago and Barrington, and I want to help them get the word out on that too. Get the chance to be on the ice with a couple college coaches and Rob Hutson and some other support staff. And so we'll have the link in the show notes here if you're from Chicago and want to take a look at it. But it's Chris Brooks's hockey camp, and just potentially a phenomenal experience.
And Brooks is great, man. He coached me, he coached Toph. He helped me a ton in my career while I was at Western Michigan. And, he's one of those guys who's doing it for the right reasons. There's some people who put on hockey camp after hockey camp after hockey camp, and there's not a whole lot of value in it, but, he reached out to us and told us about it, and there's going to be a ton of value in this. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, for sure. And before we get over to this conversation with Rob Hutson, we do have some people to thank. First and foremost, want to thank our title sponsor, icehockeysystems.com, the best website out there for all your coaching education needs. And actually, the day that this comes out on this Monday, I will be in Buffalo doing some collaborative stuff with icehockeysystems.com. We got some fun stuff coming out for you guys here in the near future. So go to icehockeysystems.com, and if you can, check out the associations platform. We partner with them so you can get this for every single coach within your youth organization. Absolute huge value add for all your coaches. It's a no-brainer, especially at the price point that they have it. They have not raised their prices in 10 years, guys. Like, that's the type of people that they are at icehockeysystems.com. So go there today, check out the associations platform, and get this for your coaches. Jeffrey, go.
I want to say thank you to Train Heroic. You guys know Train Heroic is how I work with so many teams at so many levels: pro, college, tons of junior teams, tons of midget teams, and then tons of teams of players who are below 16 and can't get to a gym. Their parents are busy. They don't want to leave the house another night of the week. So they have at-home workouts for players that are below the age of 16 and can do them all from home. If you're a player or a team that wants to train with me online for a hilariously low price, my goal is to train it and help as many players as I possibly can. Train Heroic is how I do it. So reach out to me on Instagram at Jeff Lavecchio. Email me, jeff@gmbm.com. Talk about how I can help your team. Train Heroic makes it all possible. So thank you to Train Heroic.
Boom. There we go. Also want to thank Helios Hockey. We just talked about them, but if you're unfamiliar with Helios Hockey, it is a sensor that you put into your shoulder pads as a hockey player. It gives you real-time data and feedback on your play, specifically what the kids love in a hustle score, which is what I will be using a lot on this little challenge that we're going to be doing, and also with your stride mechanics. And so if you want to be a hockey player in today's game, you got to be able to skate. And so Helios Hockey is great for that. But also the kicker, the cherry on top, is the fact that it pairs with whatever video that you have, and you get your shifts cut up for you right after the game. So whether it's reps in practice or whether it's shifts during a game, it pairs up with, if you have Live Barn, iPad, iPhone, whatever it is that you use right after the game. Dude, like, absolute no effing brainer. Also, go to helioshockey.com today, and if you use the coupon code ThinkTank, one word, you will get a 20% discount off your 12-month subscription or pro 24-month subscription as well. helioshockey.com today. Also want to thank Crossbar, the best website out there to help you manage your operations of your youth hockey club. I know a lot of hockey directors and a lot of presidents through what we do in youth hockey with the Hockey Think Tank that have made the switch over to Crossbar from some of your big box type software solutions, and they have been extremely, extremely happy that they did. So what do? They got a sleek, unique website that's just really, really easy to use. You get registration for things like a full season or lessons or drop-ins. There's a 5-star communication app so you can communicate with your families really, really easily. They have things for money management, facility management, volunteer management. Guys, like, this is your one-stop shop to help you run your youth hockey organization. Guaranteed it will give you time back if you're in your day as a leader in a youth hockey club. So go to crossbar.org and check it out. Also, thank you to all of our amazing listeners. We love you guys so much and continue to grind this baby out. I'm feeling especially grateful for you guys. Not the fact that I'm turning 40 years old gives you a little bit of a lens of reflection on the things that are important to you. And you guys you're really, really important to myself. And I know Vex as well. And so thank you for continuing to support our podcast. And if you can, anytime you can interact with our podcast on social media or on your podcast app, it goes a long way for helping us to grow. And our mission is to make the hockey world a better place and to do it in a positive way. And if you can help us to spread the message by liking and commenting our stuff, downloading or following us or shooting us a review on any type of your podcast platforms. It just goes a long way for the algorithm to get in more people's ears. So if you can do that for us, we would greatly appreciate it. But the reason why our podcast goes is because we have awesome guests, man. And Rob Hutson is a phenomenal guest. Huddy's a great hockey guy. And so now, without further ado, here we go with Rob Hutson. We are so excited to have on this episode of the podcast. It's always good when we get somebody from Chicago on. But Rob Hutson, Huddy, how are we doing today?
Doing fantastic, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pumped to have you. And let's bring it right back to the start. We always like to ask people when they come on the podcast, just as a little bit of an introduction to our listeners, where you fell in love with the game. So you grew up in right around the Edmonton, Alberta area. What got you falling in love with this great game of hockey back in the day?
Well, I was real fortunate. So I learned right off the bat. I think the first coach I had out in Edmonton was Emil Berube, Craig Berube's uncle. And he had just finished coaching Craig, and then he picked up our team. And, he actually made all the guys that were on our team, more importantly, respect the game of hockey. So, a shout out to Emil there, because he influenced a lot of kids to play the game of hockey, and just in a positive way, right? He always said you could get whatever you want to get out of the game by the amount of work that you put into it. So he was a great coach right off the bat.
That's great. That Berube. So was he a tough old style coach, kind of like Craig is?
You know what? I would actually say he was, and he was pretty hard for mites, and I was a fairly decent player on the team, and I'd score 8 or 9 goals a game. And one time I didn't treat a teammate very well. He just sat me right on the pine the whole game, and I'll always remember that. I don't even remember how many wins we had that year or anything else, but I'll remember that he taught me to, respect my teammates. And I got in the car, and my mom looked at me and she goes, "You must have done something really bad." and that was the end of it. And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a long drive to the rink in the winters up there, and to sit on the bench and not play. You learn a pretty good lesson at 7 years old or 6 years old."
So
I can imagine.
So funny that you bring that up. We just did an episode, I don't know if it's come out yet, about when to use the bench for younger players. And one of the things we said is, if you're not treating teammates well, if you're bullying the kids, if you're, not being a present and a good teammate, that's a great time. And I told a story about me getting bad grades in school, and it was literally because I was being lazy in school, and my parents made me sit out the entire game and told the team why I wasn't allowed to play. I never did it again, so it's using the bench can be really beneficial. I love that.
Well, good for your parents for stepping in too and using that as a, trump card to get your head right.
Totally. Well, those life lessons brought you some pretty cool places in hockey, and you got to play Division I hockey at University of Illinois, Chicago, which is actually where my dad played as well. And so I do have to ask you, I got a little bit of intel before this. I got to ask you about the running test at UIC. I heard that was not you were not a fan of that one. Wasn't something you had to do.
Listen, it's do as I say, not as I do. And here's what I could tell you, what I told the coach. I'm like, I've never seen a running shoe score a goal. So, he had us running half marathons, full marathons. I was like, you had to run 12 miles in 35 minutes or something, like a 7-minute mile. I was like, geez Louise. I signed up for hockey, not for track.
Oh, I love it. That's great. Well, you mentioned, but playing at UIC, Division I school back in the day, it's not around anymore. And then you got the opportunity to play, some pro hockey as well. and some of the spots down in Texas that I was in. What was your experience like playing in the minor leagues down in Texas? And was it pretty crazy back in the day or what?
Well, I mean, listen, thank God there was really no cell phones. I mean, there was cell phones, but they were like those big brick
Oh
things.
yeah.
Like, I
Jack
mean, I don't
Morris.
even know if you guys were born at that time when we were playing down there. Like, it was kind of, it was crazy, and hockey was a lot different back then. Like when you were in the minor leagues, it was like you had to slug it out. Now there's a lot more respect, I say, for the skilled players and things like that. But back then there was no such thing. It was the Wild West. No pun intended.
Literally, yeah. Well, that's great. Well, I want to get into some development talk with you here, Huddy. Like, you've been coaching for a long time, and you've done a great job, and have had a lot of success moving a lot of players on into the elite levels of hockey. Obviously, you can talk about your kids, but plenty of other kids that you coach, whether it was here in New Jersey. And so I wanted to ask you, like, you hear, we were talking offline here beforehand, but you mentioned the process, and everybody talks about the process, right? You got to follow the process. What does that mean to you? And what do you think people get wrong when it comes to talking about the process?
Well, I mean, listen, I think for me, and I didn't learn it till later, like when my kids were at the National Development Program, because I was asking questions, right? And even as a coach and somebody else, like, knowledge is power. So you want to ask a bunch of questions, and everybody would say, "Oh, this is part of the process." Okay, well, tell me what the process is, right? And there was never really any real answers for what the process was. And then I was like, you know what the process is? You make your own process. You how hard you work is going to be your return. Who you hang out with, how you eat, how you sleep, the choices you make off the school, the education aspect of it, how you deal with your family issues. All these things it's your own process, right? And the better you get at it, and the sooner you deal with it, rather than sweeping it under the table, the better result you're going to have. But like, developmentally, like, I think we made some good decisions early on for the boys. In maybe not so much with Quinn, but Quinn's process was different, right? Lane, immediately I surrounded him with like-minded people that wanted to work hard and have fun, right? So we had the majority of like-minded people. And then with Cole, I went with, hey, they kind of want to be like Lane's group or whatever it was, right? So I got him in that group also with a bunch of the other 06s in the area. And that was the kind of the building blocks from there. And Lars's process was completely different. His was we're more focused on skills and everything else rather than him playing on a team. So he didn't have a lot of game touches until the last 4 years, actually, since Bantam Major. Most of the time he was doing skills with his older brother, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're all different, but hopefully they all end up at the same place.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about that, Huddy, because like I know just from talking to my parents, kind of about my journey as a youth hockey player, and I was, typically one of the more talented kids in my age group, so I was able to make different teams and stuff, and so my parents always kind of said that we were very lucky because I was able to make those teams. They were able to choose, the coaches and the people that I would be surrounded by. And they always talked about that was the most important decisions that they were making, was making sure that I was being surrounded by good influences, both kid wise, family wise, and especially coach wise. Does that resonate with you? Because you obviously have some talented kids. You got 4 kids that are high level hockey players. Choosing their surroundings and choosing the people that you wanted to surround themselves with. Was that something that you and your wife talked about a lot, and a big part of kind of like where you would put your kids and just their decision-making process of where they were going to be?
Oh, absolutely, it was, right. And when you're one of the higher end players, other kids want to play with you, so they gravitate towards you. So you kind of get to be able to pick or influence or not. And on the flip side of it, you can vote with your feet, right?
Yeah.
When politics come into play and all the other stuff, if you're really like gung ho and believe in what your kids are doing, you can vote with your feet. And we did that at one point for the kids. We went to Detroit, and then we went to Jersey, and I have zero regrets about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, as you're kind of going through those, because we have like a lot of youth hockey parents that listen to our podcast, what kind of advice would you give to those people who might be in similar situations? You have the confidence in yourself and the people that to make kind of big decisions like that, to leave different organizations and do what's in the best interest of your kids. But I know that a lot of parents in today's day and age don't want to vote with their feet, for fear of retribution, fear of missing out. Like they feel stuck in a lot of different ways in this process. What kind of advice would you give those parents that kind of feel stuck in that?
Well, I always say this is that if you feel like that you have to be on a certain team and you're worried about the consequences if you leave or don't leave, then you're just a payer. You're not a player. And there's a big difference that goes into it, right? Like if you're really doing this because you want your kid to go on to play college hockey and everything else, or maybe your goal is, hey, you know what? I know where my kid falls. He's the 12th forward, but I want him to be the 12th forward on this team because I think he'll actually get a fair opportunity to get more ice time or whatever it is. So I'm okay with it. So if he works himself up to 9th this year, and then he works himself up into the top 6 the following year, this is great. But too many people are just looking at the immediate status, and that hinders a player's long-term development, in my opinion, right? Even now, getting in a rush to go to juniors, like I would say this all along, like when you go to the national development program as for the U17 team, it's great because you're surrounded by all the guys that have the same things as you. When you go as a U17 and go play on, Chicago Steel or whatever it is, it matters what the chemistry of the team is like and everything else to make sure that you're going to fit in. Like that's a tough grind for a 17-year-old kid to play in that league where he might be better playing midget AAA and just completely dominating.
Any advice to parents who are in those situations?
Yes. Play where your kid's going to have the puck on his stick. If you don't have the puck on your stick, you're probably in the wrong spot.
100%.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Well, that's actually a really good Yeah, it's actually a really good segue, Huddy, into something I wanted to talk to you about. And that is, we actually got the opportunity to coach against each other. You were in Jersey with the Avalanche, and I was coaching with Windy City here in Chicago for the 1 year. And I'll never forget because we played against each other maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the year. And I was always for anybody that listens to this podcast, you hear me talk until I can be blue in the face about how important puck support, and passing and just rediscovering and building hockey sense in players are. And coaching against your teams, it was very different than coaching against any of the other teams that I had at the 16U level, based on how impressed I was in terms of how well you guys passed the puck and just the different spots that your players would be in. And it was fun watching you guys play and fun coaching against you guys. And so with that, what are some things that are important to you, things that you focus on as a coach to help to develop, those hockey sense, hockey IQ intangibles where players just understand where the puck's going, they can anticipate plays? Because I thought you did it better than any coach that I've seen. And so just wondering behind the hood what you guys do maybe in practices to help facilitate that.
Well, I mean, truthfully, like, I surrounded myself with the right people there that had the same beliefs, like Dazer and Eric May and myself. Like, we all had the same belief, right? And so part of my job there was to just guide to make sure we were continued to go in that direction and we didn't get off pace. But like, for me, the most important aspect is skating. And too many kids these days are like, hey, I gotta do things that are TikTok or whatever, Instagram, or I don't even know what all the social media things are. Like, they want to be able to do those skills, right? But my question for you is, those guys that are teaching you the skills, how many of those guys played in the NHL?
Probably not many, if any at all.
if any, right?
Yeah.
So, and Vex will understand this, because I mean, I used to battle hard with Jeff Brown in St. Louis, but the coaches in St. Louis all had NHL experience, everything else, and I got in a big fight with Brownie over Clayton Keller when he was playing on the 97s, right? And those guys support each other really well. Like, they stayed together. The only two guys that were supporting me were Walt and Al McInnes, because Walt wanted Clayton to stay on the 97 team, obviously, and Brownie wanted Clayton on the 98s, and I was I was pissed. I was pissed because I was like, you're only doing it because you want him there to support your kid. Like, I was very vocal about it back then. And as funny as it is, and as passionate as Brownie is, and this is a little bit later, but Brownie got his way and he did a great job with all of those kids. They had like 7 first rounders, right? I think.
Something like that. 5. Yeah.
I think it was like 5.
Okay. Whatever. It was like, he did a fantastic job is my point. So I was wrong about that. And I openly will say I was wrong about that. But then it came time where Clayton was going to Shattuck, and all this stuff doesn't matter anymore because everybody's like good with everything. But Jeff Brown is like, you'll never play anywhere ever again. I'll go out of my way to block you. And I was like, Clayton, don't worry about it. Just like, Shattuck's a great school. It's a great spot. You go there. Well, then all of a sudden Clayton goes to Shattuck and he's still doing the stuff Clayton does. And then Brownie, I think, is coaching in Indy, and Brownie's like, hey, I'm going to sign you. I'll sign you if you don't go to the National Development Program.
Wow.
So it was, but it's all good. And I know they're like, Clayton and Logan are like best buddies, right? Still to this day.
Yeah,
and
they are.
But it's pretty cool when you see the intricacies of like what happens behind the scenes and all the stuff. And you're just like, this is great because people are passionate because they care about the kids, right? Then there's others that are passionate that want their money.
No, there's none of that going on.
None of that in hockey.
So my point is like, get involved with a guy who is doing it because he has the passion. The toe drags aren't going to get you to Michigan State. They might get you to Western Michigan.
Natty champs. That's all I can say. Natty champs.
Oh man.
So
it's actually, it's funny. Speaking of that, I texted, so Giuliano Pagliaro, who you probably know, Huddy, I was texting him yesterday. It was his birthday. And he's like, hey, sorry for not getting back to you. We were texting a little bit earlier. He's like, yeah, it's been a crazy week. Like, they just landed McKenna yesterday. I was like, yeah, what was going on? That was so crazy that you couldn't get back to me.
yeah.
Oh, funny stuff.
And there's an example right there. Gavin McKenna, he's in Whitehorse, Yukon. He goes to Vancouver when he's like 12 or 13. He surrounds himself with the right people. Then he surrounds himself with Byron Ritchie in Kelowna. And then, it just kind of escalates, right?
Yeah.
It's a real good story, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Because if he would have stayed or been handcuffed in Whitehorse, probably, I'm not saying he wouldn't have made it, but he wouldn't be doing the things he's doing.
Yeah, it's, Vex and I talk about that all the time because, like, so much of the conversation, and we're a part of it, is the what, where you are, what you're doing, all that kind of stuff. But all of that is secondary to the who. All of that is secondary to who. Surrounding yourself with the right people in whatever model, whether it's Minnesota, Massachusetts, Yukon, Vancouver, and obviously there are different strengths and weaknesses to all those different places, just based on population size and how important hockey is in the area and all that. But the who is the most important thing at the end of the day. Surrounding your kid with the right people that have the right intentions, that are looking out for their best interests, that trumps any day of the week, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. And also, like, there's sacrifice that comes with the who, right? Know the good and the bad, and be prepared to live with the bad. Like, your kid may need, like, just tough coaching, right? And it might be too tough sometimes, but that's what you want it. But you can't always, like, keep adjusting the volume, so to speak. You gotta live through it and say, okay, what do we learn from this? How can we get better from this? What's gonna be our next steps, right? But too many people want to think they're crossing the finish line tomorrow. It's a lot longer journey than that.
And the sooner that you can get young players to understand that, what can I learn from this? Not, I'm going to pout, not, I'm just going to pack up and leave and move because I went through a hard time. No, this is a learning thing. Like I say to my guys all the time, I'm like, look, how much money does Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid get paid to play hockey? Yeah, well, they make mistakes every single day. You're paying to play hockey. They're getting paid tens of millions of dollars. You are paying to play. Of course, you are going to make mistakes. Now learn from them and get better. And that's how you keep moving up levels, leagues, lines within your team. Get better, all of those things. The sooner that we can help kids understand how important resiliency is and that when you fail, it's actually just an opportunity to learn. The sooner we can get that to be understood in their thick little skulls, the better off they're going to be.
Vex, how many times did your parents fix a hockey problem for you?
Zero.
That's
Zero.
Like, I don't know you that well, but that's me just talking to you. I could tell you. So now, here's what's nice about what you're doing. You're taking what you learned from your parents and you're paying it forward to the group of guys that come to your gym. Okay? Toph's dad, best guy in the world, right? He wasn't up and down and in coaches' faces to get Topher more ice time. He was like, Toph, you earn it. Go earn it. I mean, you weren't a captain at Cornell on a fluke, right? At least I hope not.
Yeah,
I hope your dad didn't call and get you the C.
I don't think so. I might have fooled my teammates. It was a teammate vote, but we'll take it. When I think about growing up and my parents, there were like two things that they always stress with me. One was like, what's in your control? And the other, like the big one that they always said was like, what's a positive we can take from this? Like every situation, good, bad, or indifferent, what's the positive we can take out of this? And I think that's really helped to shape a lot of who I am, just especially when it comes to that resilience that you guys are talking about, because it really is a choice. You can choose to see any situation in multiple ways. You can choose to see it in a victim format where it's like poor me and blame people and make excuses, or you can choose to see the tough stuff as an opportunity to get better. And Huddy, you've been around a lot of elite hockey players, and we're all going to hit our shit. We're all going to hit the tough stuff. We're all going to feel unconfident at times. And the ones that can have that resilience muscle and, choose to see it as a challenge to get through rather than something that's going to, it's other people that are out to get me. I feel like that's a huge determining factor in becoming elite at anything that you do. Just based on your experiences and the people you've been able to coach and having 4 sons that are going through it at different stages as well. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the sooner you go through it and experience it, the more it resonates with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, as Vex was saying earlier, like the younger you are, the bigger difference I think it's going to make for you long term in your career, and it's better to nip it in the bud now than let it become a habit for your entire career, right? If as a parent you fix a problem early on when they're young, later on they're going to expect you to keep fixing the problem, and that's just not the way hockey works. Like you're going to have adversity multiple times a year, right? And you got to grind through it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's one of the funny things, right, about I think how a lot of people view elite hockey players, elite athletes, people that are elite at what they do, even in the business world, is the story that gets told. Very rarely in the story are people talking about the billionaire entrepreneurs who started with nothing, or the elite hockey players that had to grind through getting cut or, an injury or things like that. How have you kind of helped your sons kind of get through, some of the tougher stuff that they've been through in their careers? Because you can see Lane Hutson, and the year that he had last year, and Cole at BU, and Quinn signing an NHL contract, and Lars is coming up. Like people see just like the finished product, but there had to have been a lot of craziness along the way. Like how have you helped your kids who are kind of at that pinnacle of where a lot of kids that are listening to this want to be? How have you helped them to kind of get through some of their tough stuff throughout their journey?
Well, I mean, I think the most recent really tough things that we went through is like Cole had a high ankle sprain when he was at the National Development Program, his U18 year, and he was supposed to be out probably 4 or 5 months. We surrounded him with the right people. We're lucky enough to work with Cortex Management, and they have the right guys, and Andy O'Brien, and with his guidance and everything else, like we had the right guys, and Cole recovered in time to be able to play for U18 Worlds play with the 05 group. So he was out for about 2 months at the end of the year or whatever it was, versus it could have been a lot longer. And we told him just keep grinding. But the benefit is again, we had associated with the right people then. And even last year, we think Cole had people think Cole had a good year. Cole had a rough year. Cole at World Junior tryouts, he got mono. So he started the season with mono at BU. And as you guys know, mono can last a long period of time. But as a dad, there was like 5 weeks Cole didn't talk to me because I laid into him right before World Junior tryouts. I was like, you're not going to make the team. You're not going to, like, you lose pucks and you don't give a shit and you're not getting back. Like, I don't care that you lose a puck. you're going to lose a puck if you have the puck on your stick most of the time. But your effort level to get the puck back is what everybody's going to notice. And if you work hard enough and get it back, nobody even knows you gave it away, right? They're not all hockey knowledgeable. So he was going through a time, and it was conditioning, and I was probably too hard on him at the time. And by the third game in World Juniors, he talked to me, which was great. And maybe he thought that talk helped or whatever. And I was like, listen, I'm just on you because I know you can do better. If you're not doing better, there's a problem, right? So it was a little tough parenting at the time, and I was lucky because I leaned on the three other boys. I'm like, hey, have you guys talked to Cole? Like, it was hurting me more probably inside than it was hurting Cole. But I was like, hey, have you talked to Cole? And Lane would be like, yeah, he's gonna talk to you. I just don't know if it's gonna be yet. So it was a rough road for a while, but adversity wise, you go through those things, and you kind of, it's not just one person that does it. That's my point. The point was, it takes a village. It really does. And every player that has success will tell you the same thing. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. They won't be like, hey, one guy got me here. Like, that's the furthest thing from the truth.
For sure. Well, how has that been with the boys? Because they're all extremely passionate about the game. They're following similar and different paths. But how have they? You mentioned they talk to each other. How have they used each other in challenging each other and picking each other up? Like, has that been pretty cool as a dad to kind of watch your four boys, kind of go through this journey at different points of their journeys together?
Yes. And I think it's bonded them closer together, and it reminds me of what, like, my best friend when I was growing up, Greg Martel. Like, him and I would always argue back and forth, right? And we'd go at it and be shoving each other. And then the second somebody stepped in and shoved him or shoved me, then it was 2 against 1, right? So it was us two versus whoever was stepping into our business, right? So the boys go about it in a competitive, healthy way, and it's clear they love each other. How they love each other varies day to day. Like, if one of them's taking the day off in the gym, the other one's riding them, and that's healthy. Because it's a competition. It's a competition every single day, and that's the like-minded people that they're hanging out with are those 4 together.
Yeah, that's got to be fun when you get them on the ice together. It's got to be just like hilarious.
Yeah, well, it's not coaching; it's refereeing.
Yeah.
And I understand why nobody wants to referee, right? Because your kids give it to you harder than any coach would give it to you if you were refereeing. Oh, he's your favorite. He's your favorite. That's why you decided this way. Like, it's still brutal at 23, 21, 19 and 16. It's crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Well, Huddy, we got a lot of like youth hockey coaches that listen to the podcast here, and like I said earlier, I've been able to watch you coach, and you've developed so many kids that have come up through on some of the teams that you've had. If you had any piece of advice on developing players, maybe one or two things that are really important to you that you can pass on to some of the youth coaches that are listening, to try and get kids to their potential from a hockey standpoint, what would a couple things do you think are important to say to youth coaches in today's day and age?
Well, the only time there's bad ice time is when you're standing still on it. That's number one. You should always, keep them moving. Everything else. The second thing is like do the work, grind them hard, but always finish with something fun, because you're tricking their minds that they will always want to come back to the rink, right? Whether they play in the NHL or college or junior or men's league or whatever it is, your job is to make them love the game, right? And the only way they're going to love the game is that if you don't make it so that they hate it. And they'll hate it at the end of the day if all you do is skills and grind them and power skate them into the ground.
Yeah, it has to be fun. It has to be, no matter what.
It's got to be fun, and it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you and know what your players are. Like every player is completely different. You can't treat them all the same, right? Some kids are extra sensitive. Some kids are extra tough. Some kids are, in between. Whatever it is, you have to know how to treat your players. But if you can get them all to compete and shine at what they do really well and work on what they don't do so well, then you're doing a good job. Like they're all going to love the game of hockey, and that's the most important thing, right?
That's so true.
I think another big piece, and I had a talk with my guys yesterday, my midget group yesterday, about the importance of like, you're old enough now that you guys need to be finding a way to make the hard stuff enjoyable. You need to find a way to make the hard stuff fun, and you get older, coaches aren't going to be doing that as much. It's up to you to figure out a way to do that every day.
1000%. I mean, you have to have like a little bit of a sickness and I mean, in a good way. You have to have that sickness that you just either love pain or you love pushing till your legs feel like they're going to fall off because you gain something, or running through the finish line and dropping knowing you got there, right? You have to have that mentality, because if not, you should probably look into another sport.
Yeah, we all have a little bit of a sickness, I think. I think you're right. Because it's not easy. It's not easy, and you have to trick it. And that's one of the things I was going to say, Vex. I think one of the things that you do really, really well, going back to what you said earlier, Huddy, is trying to find ways to get kids to compete. Because the hard can be fun through competitiveness. In a lot of different capacities. In fact, I watch your videos and I've been in the gym with you. A lot of the hard stuff, people get through it because they want to compete with the person next to them. And there's also a sense of community where they don't want to it's almost like they're competing for themselves, but they also don't want to let their teammate down. They don't want to let the person they're working with down. Like, cause I know that if I get 17 on this, max rep or whatever, then that means that person has to get 18. So they're going to compete even that much harder. And it's that back and forth. And I just think about when I was a player, there was nothing more fun than hard compete to me anyway. Like that's what got me out of bed in the morning. Maybe that's where some of that sickness that you talk about, Huddy, comes from. But like, just when you have people that are like-minded and competitive, going back to, surrounding yourself with good people, man, it elevates everything. I think about that video of Marchand and Crosby in like July, however many years ago that was, just absolutely, going at it against each other. And it's like, there's a reason why those people are the way that, like, that's why they're the best. It's that willingness to compete and keep going. And that's really fun. So what are some of the things, like you talk about making it fun, Huddy, like what are some of the things that you like to do in practice to bring out that compete and bring out that fun?
Well, I mean, that team that you played against that we had, we're kind of not that great a team to begin with. So I used to have a specific game night, and we'd play 5-minute games. And after the 5-minute game was over, it didn't matter what it was. It was maybe 1-on-1 from each side, or 2-on-2 from each side, or 3-on-3, or whatever. I would create different areas where I'd dump the puck. I'd check up pucks. I'd use multiple pucks where you had to exchange. I'd create like 4, 5, 6, 7 different games. So they'd play for 5 minutes, and the loser would skate for 5 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
It took about not even a month for their level of compete to pick up immensely, because they related it to, if I don't compete, I'm still gonna get the shit skated out of me. So I'm gonna compete now. So it made all the difference in the world. It was just a little thing that we did, but we did those games, and like some days it would be one team skated the 25 minutes of the 50-minute slot, right? Or the 60-minute slot. They'd skate for 25 minutes, and they had to play games, because as soon as the skate ended, like there was no standing around. It's like, hey, I'm not going to drop the next game. They had the 5-6 games I was going to play that day. They knew what they were, and they also knew what the skating was, right? And they're, by the end of it, you're skating through snowbanks with the puck in the 5th game or the 6th game. Like, you're playing in conditions that you never would play in your life. And mentally, it was a mental hurdle for the kids, but I thought it was really, really good, right?
Yeah.
To get them to learn how to compete.
Yeah. I used to do something similar where we would just do best of 7. So you'd have 7 games that you'd play throughout the practice, and best of 7. And then at the end there'd be a skate, or there'd be a consequence, but you're going every other, which means you better that compete in the first couple games has to be huge, because it's such a disadvantage to have to skate for those 5 minutes.
Exactly.
You'd be so tired for the next ones.
100%. So it was pretty good. Players really have to know how competitive you are as a coach, like to believe in you and buy in, right? And I learned this, not to pump anyone's tires, but we're playing against Marty St. Louis mid Fairfield team. We're in Dallas, and it was nationals, and his team, it's the last game of the round robin. His team's advancing no matter what, because they have enough wins. My team, I got to win by 2 goals to advance. I can't win by 1. I think there's about 4 minutes left, something like that, 4 or 5 minutes, closer to 4 minutes left in the game. I'm winning 4-3. I'm winning. I pull my goalie. I'm like, we gotta try to win, right?
Yeah.
He pulls his goalie, back and forth. It's going back and forth, hitting posts, icings, big hits, whatever it is. Like, I mean, it was unbelievable for like, and he was down. He was down. Like, I was like, okay, I get it, but he knew I had to win and everything else. So it's like 6 seconds left. We score. Right? We shake hands and everything else. And the guy that's watching, like, Lane wasn't even drafted to Montreal at the time. The guy that's watching the game that gets knocked out if I score 2 goals, my buddy, Paul Caulfield.
No way. So Team
Yeah.
Wisconsin got batted out because of that.
Hey,
Because of
he
it.
told this story.
Who did?
Told this story on the podcast.
Did he?
Paul-
I don't
Yes,
know. Did he tell that?
about some goal, because I was like, I've heard this story before with Marty. That wow, this is hilarious. You got to go back and listen to that one.
As soon as the game ends, it's like Paul, Marty, and I, and we're all like standing there, and I'm like, what the? Were you thinking, Marty? And he looks me dead in the eyes, and he was like, because I played against him in college, and he remembers the score of the game. Like I have no idea. Like he remembers how many points he had. He remembers how many points I had. Like Marty's like a hockey geek, right? So anyway, I go, Marty, like, what were you thinking? And he goes, what do you mean? What was I thinking? He goes, if I don't show my guys that we want to win that bad, they'll never play hard for me. And it stuck with me. Like that moment stuck with me. And all Paul could be was like, yeah, like it's not like he was doing it to do me a favor, right?
Yeah.
He was doing it because he was so competitive that he still thought he could score another goal and score another goal after that with the goal he pulled.
Wow.
It's crazy. It was
That is
crazy.
crazy.
But people were like talking about it for like, hours afterwards. And then, once it settled down, I was like, holy crap, that really happened. It was pretty fun.
That's
But
a wild story. And now both your kids are playing for Marty in Montreal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
It's all
wow.
pretty good.
I don't remember that story, Vex. I'm gonna have to go back and listen because that's
I was like,
Who told it? Who told it, Marty or Paul?
Paul. Must have
Yeah.
been Paul.
It was Paul,
Because
100%.
he's just sour grapes, that guy.
I don't know if he told it on the podcast or if it was before or after when we were just talking, in the pre-show. But like 100%, he told that story. This is so funny.
Yeah.
I can only imagine Paul being in the stands and you guys pull your goalie and you got to win by 2, and then him seeing St. Louis pull his goalie and be like, "What are you doing? Oh, it's a conspiracy against Wisconsin. What's going on here?" Oh,
Yeah. It was crazy. It was great. And it was one of those fun ones that you remember. I mean, obviously we didn't win nationals. I think Marty's team might have won nationals that year.
really?
Yeah, I think it was the '05 group. There's another example. He's coaching the '05 group. That it's like a Jeff Brown experience. Marty's not teaching toe drags when he's in practice, right? He's teaching puck possession, hold on to pucks, wide dump it. We work too hard to get it. If we make a mistake and it ends up in our net, who cares? Right?
Yeah.
That's more or less his philosophy. I know that's my philosophy. Like, if a kid's working as hard as he can and he turns it over and it costs us the national championship, so be it. So be it.
That was always my rule, was like, turn it over. Like there's not going to be consequences if you work your ass off to get it back. Like if you back check really hard, then great. But if you turn it over and then you're lazy and it's like, whatever, then we're going to have some problems. But if you work hard to get it back, because you got to be able to make plays. And that's the thing, like you watch, and I remember, sitting around with the college guys, on the USHL circuit and at different times in midget hockey too. And one of the things that would always frustrate us would be like, just somebody make a play out here. Can somebody just make a play? I'm sick of seeing a dump. I'm sick of seeing off the glass. Like I'm sick of somebody make a play. And we're watching this in midget hockey too, not just in juniors. And that mentality as a coach to put your ego aside a little bit, and let the kids make a play, maybe even if it does end up in the back of your net. Like that's so incredibly important to developing players nowadays, because just brass tacks, this, Huddy, like when high level scouts are watching games, what gets them out of their chair? When kids make plays, make plays with the puck, and so we gotta do a better job in our coaching community of promoting that stuff and putting our egos aside a little bit.
Yeah. And Toph, I think there's a lot of strategy that goes with like when your kids are good, making a decision of where they go to play and move on to the next level. Like for my boys going to BU, we committed when Albie O'Connell was there, but Albie had the belief, hey, I want my horses to run. Like I'm going to let them run. And history kind of proves itself with the number of guys that they put in the National Hockey League each year, right? Michigan, NAR lets them run, right? They're now. Does he teach them other parts of the game? Yeah, they both do. Um, I think it's important that you're in those environments, right? Like David Carla, unbelievable coach. Got to watch him with World Juniors. The things that he does. Like if I wasn't at BU, it would probably be Denver, right? That's where I'd want my boys to go.
I think ultimately, right, and you have boys that are on along that elite level stage, like just not playing with fear as an offensive player can do everything for a kid. And it's really easy as a coach to instill fear of, to satisfy your own ego as a coach. And when kids feel like a coach has their back and kids feel like they have the autonomy to play their game and make plays, it just goes such a long way. It goes such a long way. You talk about letting them run, giving them the freedom it's kind of like an artsy thing to say, but giving them the freedom to express themselves as a player. That just goes such a long way, especially with offensive players. And I've seen it plenty of times, in my coaching days, in watching players that have come up through where all of a sudden it's like, wow, this kid's a creative kid, and then all of a sudden, where'd it go? Where'd that freedom of expression, where'd that creativity, like it just gets sucked out of kids at times. And it's tough to see because a lot of kids don't reach their potential, in my opinion, because they start to play with fear of making mistakes. And once you have that fear of making mistakes, your confidence gets lower, and it's tough. It's a tough holding it out of, to say the least, when you feel like you got the shackles on you. And again, once you get to the higher levels, there's some give and take with that and different roles and responsibilities and whatever when you get to pro hockey and college hockey and stuff. But still, like you mentioned, in college hockey, letting the players play, that's ultimately what's going to help them to develop.
100% again, right? Like you want to have, and for some guys, like when that first piece of adversity that they've never had, because they've always been the guy, right? They don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Right. So as a coach, you have to recognize, oh shit, this kid doesn't know how to deal with it. How can I help him through it? Not how do I force him to do it? How can I help him through it?
Yeah.
Right?
How do I blast him over and over and over, and he's digging himself deeper into a hole, and I'm just going to let him sit there, which I've seen with many coaches and been a part of. To me, I've never understood, like, that doesn't make any, if your goal is to win more games, don't you want all your players to be playing their best? I'm not saying baby them or, treat them with kid gloves, but like, you're talking about a 16 to a 20-year-old, like, help them learn how to get themselves out of that hole, out of their head, back into playing confident hockey. Because if you're not playing confident, you're not playing well.
Yeah. Well, and we always say this, but like the kid Schaefer, there's a reason he was the number one pick, right? How much more adversity could a player go through before his draft?
Yeah.
In his draft year, another injury, like all of it. I mean, there's something to be said for that too, right? Yeah. Like I when I was scouting kids for Arizona, my biggest thing was I was always peeling back the layers of the onion, and I would look and I would say, okay, who has this guy had as a coach before? Hopefully knowing what type of coach it was and what the coach could have or should have taught him, right? But if I looked at a player and I was like, oh, this kid played in like, Wyoming, and I never heard of this coach or this guy or that guy or whatever it is, then I get excited because I knew that kid was probably playing at his floor, not his ceiling, right? So, because too many kids are like already playing at their ceiling.
Such a good point. Such a good point.
Yeah, totally. Well, Huddy, we appreciate your time here today. Before we go, we have something we want to talk about real quick, and that is a former coach of both Jeffrey J. Hulavecchio and myself, Chris Brooks, is bringing his show to Chicago. He's got a camp there that you're going to be working. Some college guys are coming in. Can you talk about just your relationship with Brooksy and this camp? Because it's a really neat idea of what you guys are doing here in Chicago. And I know we have a lot of people in Chicago that listen to this. So talk a little bit about Brooksy's camp and what you guys have going on there.
Well, I'd start it this way. Like, here's an opportunity where you don't have to jump in a plane, chase it, go to the East Coast, hope that a college scout comes and looks at your kid. Like, this is an opportunity where it's right in your backyard. You can sleep in your own bed. Your kid's well rested. He's going to be doing well, and he gets to foster some relationships with college coaches that are coming here looking for players, right? And Toph, like, you'll go back and you'll go through your notes when you were coaching, and you'll say, oh, that's a kid that I knew when he was 14 years old. Oh, he was a fine young man. He did this, he did that. And those things actually matter in the character of the kid that you're bringing in, right? He's going to have the one up on anyone else. So all I was trying to do is say, hey, listen, we'll bring the coaches to you, and you have the opportunity to prove to them whether you deserve their accolades or attention or anything else. And you can start forging a relationship now. But Brooksy and both Brooksy and Tom Upton, great coaches. They make the decisions on who gets the scholarships at their schools. So it's a really good opportunity. And people don't understand that. They think it's the head coach that makes those decisions. Yeah, the head coach stamps it, but those are the guys that decide whether the player comes in or doesn't, right?
Yeah. Brooksy's at Clarkson, and Tommy Upton's at UMass, and it looks like a really neat opportunity to hop on the ice with all you guys. So and we'll put the website in the show notes at the bottom for any of our Chicago peeps who want to take it out. But it's Chris Brooks Elite Hockey Camp LLC.com is the website if you want to sign up for it. But Huddy, this is great. Such valuable information. I'd love to keep you for another couple minutes to do a little 10 questions that'll be housed in our hockey think tank community. But thanks for all the work that you're doing in the youth hockey community, particularly here in Chicago right now. One last thing, you want to come on the AHI board? You want to be a part of that? You want to join?
No, but I do want to make a recommendation for an individual in the builder category for John Wallen. John is. So John he's pretty much dedicated his life to hockey, but he's kind of been through it all. And Toph, the one thing that I really love about John is he's still got the passion for it, but he's like evolving as the game's evolving.
Sure.
Like with the video detail, with all the things and the certifications and everything you need. Like, Coach Wallen's done a really nice job, and the Chicagoland area is lucky to have a guy like him.
Yeah, so I just met him last year when I brought Barry Smith to Chicago, and we did our little thing there at Addison. He's one of those people who just leaves an impact on you. Like, you remember him after you have that personal contact. And, he kept in touch even afterwards on different things. And he was 10 out of 10. Just what a guy.
He's a really good man, and the kids love him. So that's checks the boxes that I need.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Huddy, thanks so much for your time here today. We'll do this little 10 questions here. That'll be in the community. Go to community.thehockeythinktank.com. But awesome advice as always. Great wisdom for a lot of people out there, coaches, parents, players, and beyond. So thanks so much for your time here today.
Guys, thanks for what you do.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.